Awesome. I think we're live, everyone. Welcome to the Q&A for Demo Day. I hope everyone did enjoy Demo Day. We had some amazing pictures. We're in the sustainability and finance room, the best room. You don't want to be anywhere else. Please stay here for the next 30 minutes. We've got three amazing startups to have some Q&A with. First up, we're going to talk with Epic Impact, then we're going to talk with Nava Ventures, and then Green Growth. If you do have a question for any of them, please put them in the Q&A box, and we'll get to as many of those as possible. So please, everyone, say hello, do a quick wave, and then I'll get James up as we go into speaker view. James, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are.
Excellent, fantastic pitch, James. Let's talk a bit about Epic Impact and what you're doing. So let's just jump straight into other questions. So seems like there's like a new consumer focus carbon footprint calculator being launched kind of every month. How are you guys different?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's a really interesting question. I think it's really important that there's new entrants looking to innovate in this area about having more of a positive impact on big issues such as climate change. But our position is actually, at an individual level, such big challenges like climate change can sometimes feel overwhelming. And actually, when it comes down to wanting to do good, but also just living day to day, convenience and affordability are the primary drivers in how we make our consumption choices. So looking at it from a bottom-up perspective, from that individual level, the way we believe we can start to shift a change in behavior is by getting people to make conscious consumption choices that support the issues that are important to them. So whether that is supporting a local youth charity or perhaps a local hospice that they've got an emotional connection to, we want to be able to help them to support the values that are important to them. So that's why we're taking this bottom-up approach in the view that actually that will get the mass consumer, the average consumer that is, as I say, driven by convenience and affordability, and their primary focus is looking after their family and feeding their family, to then start to have more of a positive impact and increase the share of their spending that's going towards doing good. And by adding all that together over time, we will then affect the larger issues that are facing the planet as a whole.
And just to kind of build on that, you did become a certified B Corp as well. What made you want to achieve that status, and how do you think that will help going forward?
Yeah, I'm not going to shy away from it. That was a really proud moment for us. It's been a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort just getting a product live from a startup, let alone getting the operationals and policies and values in place to really emphasize what we're trying to do. And that was the key thing for us, really, that, we can't just be seen to be a profit-making company that's telling people to change their habits if we aren't able to demonstrate that we ourselves are actually trying to do good and create a cleaner, fairer world for everyone. So as part of our mission to distinguish ourselves from a growing market, it was really important to us that we were able to put our values on the table and out in the open for everyone to see. And we believe that will yield benefit, not just in our internal decision-making, but also in future employment and creating alliances with corporate partners and investors moving forward.
We see that a lot with especially people who are young people looking at joining companies and being mission driven, and having that B Corp status is a real attractive part and element of that. So yeah, kudos to you on that aspect. You also mentioned in your pitch that you're launching in the UK. You've got plans to expand into Australia and into Europe as well. Can you give us some kind of motivation as to why these markets and what those plans look like?
Sure. I think, coming back to the fact that I mentioned, you've got all these issues, that climate change, poverty, hunger, inequalities and so on polluting the world, they are global issues. And so it's been a fundamental vision of ours that we are an international solution. And so right from the very beginning, we built our platform to be scalable so that we can tap into this changing energy, whether it's in the UK, in Australia, in South America, everywhere, there's a growing appetite to do more good. And so being able to have a solution that can scale and a company that can scale that quickly to take advantage of these changing attitudes was fundamental. So not only have we built the vision and the network, but we've also built a platform for retailers that connects to over 550 e-commerce and ePOS solutions around the world, so that we can quickly activate upon growing demand. Impact is felt everywhere. It's kind of shown in our logo just up here, which is supposed to represent how we're connected from one side of the world to the other. So our actions are not don't have just a local impact; they affect everyone some way, somehow. And so building a company that's going to look to support a changing global attitude, again, fundamental to what we want to achieve.
Amazing. We'll come back to a few questions later on, but if you do have a question for James, please put that in the Q&A box. But amazing, like reward sustainable shopping by connecting customers, more great mission. Thank you, James, for your initial Q&A, and we'll get you back soon. Next up, we've got Gurjit from Nava Ventures. Gurjit, you say hello.
Hey everybody. We're on the West Coast here, so it's quite late, but hopefully everyone's still awake around here. So yeah.
Excellent. Let's talk a bit about Nava Ventures, software as a service, offering impact-focused fintech products to financial institutions. Again, banking as a service is quite a large domain. Where do you see Nava fitting into this stack?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Usually, when you have banking as a service, you really have to focus on a few different areas, such as card issuing, payments, account transfers, checking accounts, saving accounts, and many more. And what we're doing is we're partnering and leveraging with existing infrastructure to partner us with sustainable kind of banks out there. And we take care of a middleware and the front end and the user experience. We really want to connect users to sustainable projects, help them measure their impact, and ensure that their banking dollars are spent in a responsible way. So where we really sit is entirely on the customer focus and connecting you to global and local projects.
So we see this a lot with companies being greenwashing themselves, and how do you can prevent that kind of happening and having that deeper level of engagement?
Yeah, so the big banks particularly, yes, they're investing in fossil fuels, but they're also doing a lot of good, and they have, quite surprisingly, some of the strongest sustainability policies when it comes to the entire banking sector. And what that really means is they're pivoting, and they realize that the future is in green technology, and they see themselves playing a critical role in that. However, when you do put your money in there, it does go to fund existing fossil fuel projects. And what we do is we create a new channel, an isolated channel with the organization or the parent bank, and we ensure that every dollar that goes through our system, from our customer experience all the way to the back end and the accounts that are being opened, to ensure that they're going to sustainable causes. And by partnering with us, we can ensure that sustainability audits are there by third parties, by us, and the bank. So it creates kind of like a community to ensure that our impact is measured and transparent.
And it's good to see that there is that specific track there that can manage that green kind of investing aspect. Like, what size institutions do you see yourself targeting with this product?
Yeah, so we found it quite interesting. So originally we looked at small institutions, credit unions that are already doing a great job, community banks and mutual kind of associations. And particularly, especially in Australia, there's a lot of a middle tier kind of banks that have used sustainability as a differentiator. They're giving back to the community. They're giving into local charities and NGOs. And originally we thought that would be our customer. We wanted to really work with them. And what we found is, although there's demand for the smaller institutions, it's more of getting them to digitize, and embrace digital experiences and embrace kind of online sustainability. But we were surprised to find that the big banks also are interested in partnering with us. That's because they're looking to transition. And by partnering with us, they can transition a part of their portfolio pretty much overnight. Whereas for them to transition their entire portfolio, it takes a long time. So we have two clients, one smaller clients that are willing to digitize and see us as a differentiator, and then the larger clients, the big banks that see us as a way to further their sustainability strategies.
And how does that integration look like when you do partner with these organizations?
So we, for all extensive purposes, we take a backseat. You don't even know we exist. So we provide the front end, and it would be branded by the organization that we're with, and that organization's logo is front and center, and you're banking essentially with that organization. We just provide you with the software for the customer experience and the software for the bank itself to manage the entire experience.
So it's all fully white labeled in that aspect, and they just plug and play in essence. Excellent.
Exactly.
Let's talk a bit about the team behind Nava Ventures. Do you want to talk about your journey here and then the team kind of around you as well?
For sure. So my background comes from software engineering. I spent quite a time working in the defense sector, and we have a close-knit team. I met some of my co-founders. One of them is my brother. He's with me along this journey, and we also have a coworker that I've worked with, and he really resonated with the vision, and the others I met throughout school and previous startups that I've worked for. So over the years, we kind of we're always wanting to make an impact. We didn't want to just work behind a computer in a large corporation. And we always had these discussions saying that, how do we actually want to make an impact? And there was an article by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that really resonated with me. And they were talking about how $1 could go to our community and what you could do with that dollar to provide the greatest ROI for the socioeconomic status of that community. So should you put into plumbing, sanitization, education? Where should you put it? And I was surprised to learn financial services provide some of the highest ROI with socioeconomic conditions. And that kind of sparked my interest in FinTech and my experience in software engineering. And our value aligned team, we got together to really try to tackle this problem.
Amazing. And I think on that note, I think there's a couple of questions I want to ask in the rapid fire section. But yeah, really interesting technology, really interesting product as well. Thank you, Gurjit, for this, and I'll get you back up in a few minutes. Next up, I've got Chris Webb from Green Growth, who are bringing personalization to sustainable investing. Welcome, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Sav. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, hi to everyone watching. Yeah, also we've got two other co-founders, Luke and Mark, on the call here.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Luke Hobart and Mark Hendricks. So just to kind of kick off with a question, we see there's a huge number of fintechs kind of growing in not only in Europe, around the world, the likes of Revolut and others as well. So how will you compete with these fintech giants who are well capitalized? And is there a risk that they could launch a competing sustainable product and kind of blow you out the water?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Extremely valid. So, I mean, firstly, I would say that the market is huge. I mean, in the UK, it's over 900 billion is the size of the market. So it's big enough for multiple entrants. Secondly, we're looking to kind of really build that green trust, we call it, with our users by placing environmental impact at the core of our business. You know, it's in our name. You know, and it's not just, you know, an add-on as it might be for other established businesses who are looking to kind of enter or offer a new product later on. We also have a lot of proprietary functionality behind our app, for example, showing users their environmental impact, as well as personalizing investments towards their carbon footprint, which are difficult to replicate, I think, for other businesses.
So it's like you're green native, right? You're built on that green mission. So in terms of as an investor, potential investor going into green growth, will users have to sacrifice any type of financial return for the environmental impact? And how will you achieve engagement within the app itself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, Mark, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm going to take that one on. Everybody wants to be a good investor. The train has left the station in terms of sustainable investments. So I think people are very aware of the risks of stranded assets. And the fact is, if you invest sustainably, you're going to be invested in a wide diversity of industries, from utilities to growth companies in particular. So if you just look at the last 2 years, you'll see that if you've invested sustainably, you've outperformed standard indices by a significant margin. And that's after a long period of underperformance. So, I don't think there's any, never predict the future, obviously, but the macroeconomic forces, the general trends of government agencies, accounting standards is pushing people towards sustainable investing. So I don't think there's any issue about performance. The issue is about people's behavior. And that's going to be the driving force for return on these assets. Everybody wants to be a better investor. And the very simple fact is that you have more of an impact on the environment for every pound you spend through saving than changing your consumption behavior. And people want to control that. They want to know where their money is going, and that's going to drive the return on assets. So, yeah, it's a good story all around.
I think I see this as being in the energy sector in particular, where there's a huge amount of green capital waiting for investment opportunities in whether it's renewable energy or hydrogen or electric vehicle infrastructure and so forth. So there's a huge push towards creating a more long-term green sustainable investment return. So yeah, I think it's a great sector to be in. So follow on that. So you're planning to launch with green investments, but do you have any plans to expand into other products or categories as well?
Yeah, Luke, did you want to take this one? No. Oh, sorry. No, this is me. Sorry, my mistake. I'll take this one. Sorry, Abs. So we do. We're starting with investments, as we believe that they can be hugely impactful, and it's a hugely untapped opportunity to be able to make a difference as an individual. But investments are just a start. So our plan is, we like to say, to be the Revolut of sustainable finance, so the home of sustainable finance. It's quite a little known fact that how we spend and how we save makes up about 100% of our environmental impact as an individual. When you think about it, what you buy from the supermarket, which electricity tariff you're on, and the companies that your pension or your superannuation or your investment account is invested in. They will have a massive impact. So we have plans down the line for green pensions and green supers, to have create our own funds, as well as green current accounts, perhaps green stock trading, and as well as green private equity down the line. So by giving users a real 360-degree view of their environmental impact, we can help them much better manage and reduce it as well.
One way to kind of really create that amazing experience is to have a really amazing user experience as well as the tech experience as well. Do you want to talk a bit about the technology behind green growth?
Yeah, sure, Luke.
Yeah, sure. I could take this one. So I think, if you talk about the user experience first, I think one of the main things we're doing to kind of drive engagement most out of the app is, in kind of one word, it's personalization. So there's kind of two tranches to that, really. The kind of first is for the first time, we can actually show customers the environmental impact that their portfolios are actually having on the environment in real term. So it's not just kind of putting your money into an ETF and then there's no kind of transparency there. We actually show people, just how many tons of CO2 emissions are being avoided by investing with us, just how many kilowatt hours of renewable electricity has been generated, which is just a layer of transparency that's completely missing from some of our competitors. I think the second one as well is on personalization is just how personalized the portfolios we're offering are. So we've actually built a system that can map somebody's lifestyle, kind of work out where they're most polluting in their lifestyle, and then we actually go and build them a bespoke investment portfolio just for them as well, which again is kind of a level of personalization that you normally don't get at this kind of price point, and certainly isn't existing in any of our competitors' offerings as well.
Thank you, Luke, for that. I'll get everyone else up as well to just have a few questions I want to go through. If you do have any questions for Green Growth, Nava, or Epic, just please put those in the Q&A box underneath the video player. James, I've got a question for you. So we're talking about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I think that's been a big part of a lot of organizations' ESG strategies. How does your solution kind of promote the advancement of these goals?
Yeah, sure. So it's actually built directly into our user onboarding experience, where when they sign up, we ask them to tell us what their values are and then what SDGs they want to impact and contribute towards. And then the way we do that is then on the merchant side, we are building a platform which allows the merchants to report upon how their business is contributing to any of the SDGs that they say they're supporting. And then that provides the transparency that consumers are asking for, to say, okay, you say you're supporting this cause, but how are you actually doing that? And we also then see that being a potential point of differentiation for merchants as they move forward, about not just being carbon neutral. I mean, I believe that being carbon neutral for a business would be as fundamental as having an Instagram account or a website. So that the point of differentiation would be, which values do you have as a business? And then can you evidence that you're actually supporting that? And then that's what we then build into the merchant scoring. And then also how we then will show a breakdown of a consumer's spending by the SDGs that they're actually supporting with every pound, dollar, euro that they spend.
Thanks, James. Gurjit, I've got a follow-on question for you around the economic opportunities that your solution will create. Do you want to kind of unpack that for me, please, around create more competitive markets, more sustainable ways of spending? How does the solution help in that aspect?
Yeah, so we provide more a triple bottom line approach. So we move money away from fossil fuels into local communities, into projects such as affordable housing, into projects such as removing plastic from the ocean. And these projects are usually run by NGOs, but also local projects that are such as cleaning up your beach. So what ends up happening is you're moving money away from fossil fuels and embedding it into your local communities.
Thanks, Gurjit. And then I've got one final question for everyone. So I'll start off with you, Chris, around on green growth. Like, if we're having this conversation again in 3 years' time, like, where will green growth be? What impact will you have made, and what would the future look like in 3 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one thing we're very interested in is geographical expansion as well. So I think you'll definitely see us in Australia and beyond in 3 years' time. As well as, as I sort of mentioned, I suppose previously in my question, just having sort of a raft of additional features and great kind of products that are all aimed at helping an individual have more of an impact with their money.
Same question to you, Gurjit, as well. 3 years from now, what does Nava Ventures look like, and what impact will you have made?
We want to be the #1 socially responsible app for any socially responsible financial institution out there. So we want to change the way people are doing their day-to-day banking and ensuring that their dollars are well spent. So with that, we hope to be known in North America, Australia, and hopefully enter other markets as well.
Thanks, Gurjit. And finally, James, same question to you. 3 years from now, Epic Impact. Does that look
Sure.
like?
It's a brilliant question, and I think there's 2 key points that I'd like us to be at. One is, I mentioned in our pitch video, Epic Points. Well, the idea for Epic Points is to turn it into a truly global currency for positive impact, so it can only be earned and spent in a positive impact ecosystem. So turn that into a digital currency, and supported with that is then launching a Epic account, current account for people to be able to spend their points or their Epic coin, if you will, with ease and simplicity. After all, we're asking people to connect their bank accounts first through open banking to be able to power the Epic platform. So there's a step forward that we can improve that user experience with.
Excellent. Thank you all. Big thank you to Chris, to Luke, Gurjit, Mark, James for your time this afternoon. If anyone wants to connect with any of these starters, you can do that on the website as well. And a big thank you from Startup Bootcamp to our audience. We can't do these events and we can't make this impact in the world without your continued support. So a big thank you to you as well. And we hope to see you very soon at our next event. And wherever you are joining us from around the world, have a fantastic rest of the day. See you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.